Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be telling you guys about a story, which it involves my house being haunted. I don't know if you guys saw a previous video that I took of one of the rooms in my house. It was pretty scary. It was the first video I've ever done about my house being haunted, just because I was scared to always take pictures or like do videos having to do with my house being haunted. But today I'm going to tell you a little backstory about it. So I've been living in my house for 22 years now, and since I was little I've always kind of seen like this dark shadow, but I never knew what it was, which was a little scary. Kind of brushed it off when I was little. I didn't really pay attention to it until I came up in a conversation with my mom and one of my brothers that they also saw this black shadow. We were all amazed because we never spoke of it for a couple of years until that day. I think by the time we all spoke about it, I was probably like 7 years old, probably around the time, maybe 8. But as I got older, a lot of other activities started to happen at my house. So the story that I'm going to go into, besides the telling you guys about the shadows, is the first thing that ever happened that was pretty scary, because besides the shadows you kind of would hear noise, but like I said, I would kind of brush it off. My brother would brush it off as well. And one of the big things that happened was I was about maybe 13, 14 years old, and I had left to a party. It was a 15, which, you know, you would probably know as it's a quinceañera. So I'm coming back around 12 at night, almost 1. My brother had stayed up waiting for me while everybody else was sleeping, and my other brother was out as well. So as I come in, my brother's sitting in the kitchen table waiting for me. So I sit down and we just start talking, and we're just talking, having a normal conversation, when my brother, my older one, he comes in. Obviously he's intoxicated, so as he comes in, he's talking about going to get something to eat, and obviously we're like, you know, you're intoxicated, just go to sleep. He goes, you know, to use the restroom, then he goes off to bed. At the time, when you're living in the house, you kind of get used to the noises, kind of tell like what's what. And like I remember that he went, we heard the restroom door, and then we heard again, which, you know, he left and he went straight to the room. Well, me and my brother were sitting, my other brother, we were sitting in the kitchen, and as we're talking, we hear the restroom door, and then we hear it again. But then we hear like this loud whistle, and we kind of both looked at each other like, what is that? But it was like the scariest whistle. Like, I cannot explain it. Like, it even gives me chills talking about it. Like, it was like the loudest whistle ever. And we immediately both got up and went to the living room, because the living room was dark. And so we went and we looked around, and we're like, what is that? Like, what? We're thinking it was my other brother maybe playing a prank or something, but we were like, there's no way, because he was way too intoxicated for him to even do that. And at the time, my grandma was in a wheelchair, and her wheelchair would have been in the way of my brother. Like, if he would have been running to the room to try to hide. So there was just no possible way. Like, we thought about like all the possibilities if it was him, and there was just no way it was him. We still went to the room and we asked him, like, did you whistle? And he was like, you know, all intoxicated, drunk and whatnot, saying like, you know, no, and leave me alone, I'm gonna go to sleep. And I remember me and my other brother were just freaked out. Like, thinking about what is going on, and we couldn't explain it. Like, it was just a very, very loud whistle, which I don't know if you guys ever heard of like this like urban legend. It's called La Lechuza. It's like a bird, and you know, so they say it's like a bird, it's a witch. It's a witch that transforms into a bird, and like the whistle kind of like, it was similar to that. I don't, if you guys ever heard that whistle, or you guys know what I'm talking about, you would know what I'm referring to with the whistle. And that's what like it sounded like. It was super, super, super loud, and like if it was like, you know, somebody standing in the middle of the living room. So we're just like thinking over and over, like what you know, who could it have been? Like, why did we hear that whistle? And you know, my mom goes on to say, obviously it would be the lechuza, that it's in the house. At the time, it kind of got me freaked out a little bit, but we were just kind of like, no, it can't be that. It has to be another explanation for it. That night, I remember I did not sleep whatsoever. I pulled an all-nighter because I was so afraid of what had happened. It was like within a week, stuff just started happening, because that same night, I remember we had the light on from the living room because we're just terrified of like, I don't know, just going to sleep. Like, we're just like watching TV. And I clearly remember sitting in the couch with him, and it was about like 3 in the morning when one of my friends called me on the phone. We were just talking, and I had totally like kind of forgot about what happened. I was just talking to my friend, like, you know, and I wasn't even thinking about like what had happened. I was just talking when I get up. I'm talking on the phone like normal, you know, you forget you're like in the chisme talking. And as I get up, like, I totally remember I turn the light on from my kitchen, and the light starts to flicker, like, and it turns off. I left the switch on, and I remember I jumped so high, like I got so scared. Even my brother was laughing. He was like, you jumped like twice and you were on the couch already. And we were kind of freaked out. We're like, oh my god, why is the light flickering? And when the light started flickering, we were just kind of like spooked, like, oh my god, like, what is going on? And we're sitting there, and at this time I had already gotten off the phone. I just got off the phone. I was terrified. I just wanted it like to be like 6, 7 in the morning. I don't know why. I always felt more comfortable around that time. Like, it's like, you know, you made it through the night. And I remember sitting on the couch, and I don't know why we were like wanting to like snack on stuff, when I like looked at my brother and I was like, hey, you know what? I was like, I'm starving, like, I'm hungry. And he goes on to say, he goes, yeah, he goes, I'm hungry too, but I'm kind of scared to go to the kitchen. Now keep in mind, when I turned the switch on and the light turned off, the switch stayed on. So the light had been off this whole time. When he finishes his sentence and says, I'm hungry too, but I'm afraid to go to the kitchen, like, the light turned on. Why? Why did it turn on all of a sudden after he said that? Like, it's like if it was like, you know, telling us like, hey, come back to the kitchen. Why did it turn on after he said that? And we kind of laughed. We were like, what? And we ended up going to the kitchen. You know, we got some snacks, and the way like the back door to like the backyard, it has like these shades, and my mom would always tend not to close them at night. So that night she like, well, didn't close them, and so you could see to like the outside, but you can see reflection, you know, your own reflection on the mirrors, I mean on the glass door. So we were just like, don't look, don't look, don't look, go make the sandwich and don't look. So we were like making our stuff, and then all of a sudden, like, we're just like, you know, focusing on not to look, and quickly we did it, and we went back to the living room. And so then we're like just watching TV. I mean, what else can we do? There's nothing really much to watch on TV. Well, at the time there wasn't. There was no Netflix, you know. There was no Redbox. There was nothing at the time. So just watching plain old TV. There really wasn't much to watch at 3, 4 in the morning. So we're just trying to keep awake. We kind of ate, and we're kind of talking about what just happened. Like, that was like honestly the first time that something kind of scary ever happened, besides the shadows, when I was little. Because when I was little, something did happen, but it wasn't something major. It was just that, you know, like, my nephew had like a little best friend, and my grandma had said she had walked to the room, and my nephew had his back towards the door, so he couldn't see who was in the doorway looking at him, when all of a sudden, without even turning, he goes on to say, you know, hey, you scared my friend away. And my grandma was kind of like in shock, but you know, they brushed it off. They were just kind of like, whatever. I guess that was the first thing that happened, but it didn't happen to me. I had heard about it, but didn't really like pay attention to it too much. Hey, Lily. And so basically, I would say that was like the first thing that really happened to me. Lily. Out of all stop it. Out of all the things that happened, that was literally the first thing ever, and it was pretty scary. Sorry, my dog is like all up on me. Anyways, so yeah, that was like the first thing that ever happened to me. And basically, I mean, there's other stuff that has happened. There's a lot, but I mean, if you guys want to know what else has happened, you guys want to know more of the little kid, or the other, I guess, spirits, you guys can just subscribe to my channel and keep watching for updates on that. And that's it for today's video. And hope you guys like this video. And good night, you guys. See you guys on the next video.